Welcome to the Spodcast. This time on another lockdown edition, we've got John Flewin. John, welcome.
Thank you very much, mate. Thank you very much for inviting me along.
That's all right. So everyone's got loads of time on their hands, so we thought we might as well make the most of it and get a few podcasts recorded. So I've got loads of points I want to cover with you. Why don't we just start? Just give us, for those that don't know you, give us a bit of a background about who you are and what you do.
For the many people that don't know who I am, which is kind of the way that I've operated for sort of 6 or 7 years now. I'm a freelance videographer, if you like, within the industry. So I've worked for many big brands and down to very, very small Dave in a Shed lead company brands. In a variety of roles, really, mate, from obviously full cinematography, so working with people at Shimano, for example, creating their DVD for them and other product footage, and now moving into Avid. And then all the way down to people's social media work for them. As I said, Dave in a Shed, who can make a cracking lead, but doesn't actually know how to speak to people, etc. So, yeah, a lot of people don't really see me, shall we say. I am an angler and do my own bits and pieces like that, including a new thing that we'll talk about probably later down the line. But yeah, certainly I have been the man behind the lens for a lot of things that people know got filmed, but didn't actually know who filmed them. So that's me really in a nutshell.
Brilliant, awesome. So the freelance stuff, obviously talk us through that a bit. I mean, how did that come about? How long have you been doing that? Has it always been in the angling trade?
So yeah, basically condensing the story, if you like. I started years ago, about 10 years ago, owned a blogging website, if you like, called Catch and Release. And we used to have a lot of writers on there, people like J. Mungo Carter now, was at Ridge Monkey, Lazu with Nash, Balazu with Fox. And we used to all write articles all around Europe. And I used to be sort of the collator of them and put them all together. So that was my first sort of initial inroads into the industry. At that time, I was a full-time chef, working 70, 80 hours a week, and then doing that in my little spare time. I mean, it got a load of traction, but from that, I started personally video blogging. And then, so that's where it really all started. And then, so from that, people were like, oh, why don't you just film some other people? And I was like, oh, I don't know. That means I got to talk to people and deal with people. And I was quite happy in my own little bubble, pointing a cheap candy bar style camera at my own face and talking absolute rubbish about fishing. But then when people are like, well, you know, people get paid to do this. I was like, whew. And all of a sudden you start thinking of, you know, maybe I can make money in the industry. And my first big break, if you say, come from ATT when ATT were a standalone company. Did some of their sort of trailer stuff for them and some interview stuff, and it kind of went from there, really, mate. It's it's been a bit of a whirlwind. As I said, I've been lucky enough to work with some really great brands, great people, but that's how it started. So it started as a blog site, started as me personally blogging, then got into it charging. Well, my first year I didn't charge a penny. It was more about getting my name out there as someone that did videos. Yeah. And then from then on in, mate, it's been a bit of a whirlwind journey. I think I'm about 6 or 7 years into it now. And yeah, it doesn't seem real sometimes when I get a call to go and work for X, Y, or Z. Can you come and film, you know, out in France, or because I do a lot around Europe as well. And you're thinking, this came from like me came from me starting off by dealing with correcting other people's spellings on a website, essentially. So yeah, mate, it's been a great journey that I hope only gets further and better and doesn't stop at all.
Yeah. They say, don't they, if you're doing something you love, you know, as a job, you never have to work a day in your life, don't they?
Absolutely, mate. And I say, me and you have been lucky enough to work on a little project, which is probably something else we'll talk about. But
yeah, well, let's talk about that now, because that was really fascinating, and the amount of effort and kit and everything that was involved in that. Let's talk about that. So that's, for people who don't know, that's diving the truth, isn't it?
Yes, mate. Yeah. So that was a brainchild of myself and Andrew Gardner, who's an incredible diver, done a lot of work for other companies, you know, as a diver because of his qualifications and you know, and what he's got as kit wise, because as you just said, touched on there, I reckon probably in that room down at Carp Society, we had probably over 150 grand's worth of kit. Not including other things that I don't even know about. I'm talking about tech kit, probably even without the diving kit, wasn't it, mate? It was. It's a huge undertaking, and essentially the whole purpose of it started and still is a pure passion project. No one gets paid. We all give our own free time, as you did for us, and it's just to try and. We know that underwater filming has been done by a lot of people, and we're not trying to tread on anyone's toes. I want to try and get that clear before we go any further with what we've done with it. But as we said, it's about the tech of it all. Corda did ones where they're trying to catch fish underwater on cameras using very expensive single or one or two cameras. Rob Hughes does his thing where he goes out with his camera and films. But I think we had 7 or 8 underwater cameras, 4 or 5 above water cameras. We had underwater to surface communication so we could actually talk live to the diver. It's, as I say, it's one of those things where when you look at it in plan form, you think this is going to be so easy and so great. Yeah. And then when you see it all together, all in that room with 5 or 6 laptops running and overhead projectors, it's a great project that we have got a little bit more to finish on that, but it's catching. It's sort of we know some of the things we're going to see, but it's getting it from every conceivable angle and getting it on in the best, highest resolution, highest quality, and answering the questions sort of flat rated and say, as you can see from this angle, this angle, this angle, this angle, we believe that this is right, and that is what it all boils down to. It's as I think Andrew calls it, the underwater National Geographic for carp angling. So and that's the whole concept of that, is try and ask them, get some questions, answer them using as much tech as we possibly can throw at the situation.
It was a logistical. I mean, you could see there was bits going wrong, wasn't there? We had issues with the camera, issue with the housing on one of them. It was amazing, but very stressful, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. It's, as you say, especially when you've got a lot of alpha males, shall we call them, everyone who's good at their own field, understands their own field, and sometimes it's not as easy to understand the other person feels. Like I say, the water's freezing cold. Us stood on the bank, all well and good, saying, and jump back in, mate. And you're he's going, my core temperature is like flat rate. Stop asking. Yeah. So but it's also great because, as I say, like you said, Ben Pinniger come down, yourself came down. There was 8 or 9 of us probably all together doing our own little bits and pieces to try and pull this whole project together. And as I say, we've got another filming session, fingers crossed, #isolation, down the line in a year, to try and really finish off exactly what we've seen, which is already quite mind-boggling, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, and obviously we filmed it in February, didn't we?
So yeah.
Probably the coldest time.
I think it was like the Monday or Tuesday. I was over in France. I had to come back from France in the morning, drive all the way back from filming over in France to come and catch up with you guys. And I think it was 2 or 3 days after one of those storms that we seem to have every weekend in February. And yeah, as I said, it's the best laid plans of mice and men, isn't it? You all think this is going to be easy, this is going to be perfect. They'll go out, we'll cast a few rods, they'll catch it the first time, we'll go back and we'll have time for champagne and caviar at the end of the night. Certainly didn't work like that at all.
Yeah, the reality. Nothing was cast until whatever point, was it? So many things that you don't really think of that spring up.
Of course, but that's what makes projects like that worthwhile. Mate, it's like going fishing. If you walked into the first swim, cast out a single, and caught the biggest fish in the lake every single time you went fishing, you'd lose the romance of what you're doing. Yeah, and that certainly is what I've learned with filming. Is 90% of the time you're barring to the other side of the filming lake, if you like. You're spomming for hours of filming footage to potentially get the smallest fish in the lake. But that's why we do what we do in it.
Are you still there, John?
Yeah, I'm there.
Oh, sorry, it all went quiet then. Okay. So if we talk about, obviously, we mentioned your freelancing. So is that your full-time gig now? I mean, is that all you do? Is it all just videography and stills, or?
Yes and no. I mean, that's probably, it's 90% of my income, shall we say. I do own, along with a business partner, a small little bake company, which is probably what you're angling towards there, which is very, very well done there as a presenter like that. But yeah, as I said, 90% of my income is from the filming. Last year, myself and another videographer that I worked with for years, Jason, who I worked with at Shimano, we've started to do weddings.
Right.
A massive, massive step in a different direction. And me and Mooney were like, are we really going to do this? This is a huge risk. Fishing is, I mean, if you miss something, you could wake up in the morning and just do it again. Weddings, you certainly do not get that chance. And everyone around me was like, you do know that you can mess someone's day up. And it's like, oh yeah, thanks for the confidence. But as I said, don't get me wrong. It was, I certainly would have done it probably even 2-3 years ago. So filming, as I say, it makes up a lot of my work is contract work. So I know that I'm getting X amount of days per month for X amount of contracts, if you like. So that's a great cushion, because the thing is with freelance is with anything, self-employment, etc., is it's the risk of, am I going to get paid this month? And don't get me wrong, it's only the last probably 2.5 years it's all started to really click into place. But that's what I wanted to do. That was the way I wanted to go. I mean, I've been blessed to have had offers of full-time work from a lot of companies, but it doesn't give me that freedom that I've worked for, if you know what I mean. I've worked to be able to work for myself, doing what I love. And the thing is it's not a Monday to Friday job in my head, working in the industry, in videography, because people want you at different times, and it gives me that great ability to work for whomever I want, whenever I want, but also it gives me the flexibility for them to phone me up and say, John, are you free next week? Yes, I am. And I can go and I can do something that might be the most exciting project I've ever seen. So that's what's kept the passion and the romance for that side of the job going for me. Is I get bored very easily. It's a terrible trait to have. But if you're doing something different all the time, I got that buzz all the time for what I do. And there's not a day, touch wood, he says, I've had it in plenty of my other jobs when I worked in sales, when I worked in the kitchen, where you wake up and go, not today, just not today. Yeah. I don't get that. I wake up for 3 o'clock in the morning, I drive all the way to Essex, or I drive up north, or I get there bubbling, and I hope that comes across with anyone I've worked with. I'm full of enthusiasm because I don't know what's going to happen that day.
Yeah,
and
perfect.
That is like, the best. But then, as I said, the other 10% comes from #shameless plug from CR Baits, which has been my little bait company. As I say, I started on my own, and then about 4 or 5 years ago took on a business partner, and that seems to have gone from strength to strength. So between the bait company and the filming, I've managed to keep a roof over my head, missus that's happy, 2 kids that don't want for much. So yeah, mate, it's at the moment it feels, well, not particularly at this intense, precise moment, sat talking to a screen, but in the whole scheme of things, mate, yeah, like life at the moment seems bang on, and it's
that's so important, that quality of life. It's not all money and work, is it? It's like I say, if you can find that thing that you just, it's almost like, it's like when you're in a sort of shitty job and you struggle to get up in the morning. Yeah, when you know it's time to go fishing, bang, you're up for your alarm, aren't you?
Yeah. That's it. No, mate, that's exactly it. But as I said just now, I still get that from work, and when you're doing it for yourself, you've got to have that buzz. Like I get a lot of people say, "Oh, how do you do what you do? And how can I become a videographer?" And I'm happy to help anyone. But number one is you've got to get up and grab it by the ball bag, because it ain't going to come to you. It's not going to fall in your lap by accident. Everyone's got a phone. Everyone's got access to money to get a camera, and everyone wants to work. Not everyone, but a large percentage, especially this younger generation, they're hungry to work in this industry. So they're going for it. So if you're sat there thinking, I'll just wait for this to come, and I mean, I probably have been guilty of that in the past, of thinking it'll come. It does not come. Grab it, get up, shake your ass, and it'll come to, and everything does come good. The harder you work, and as long as you don't screw anyone over, and as long as you stay true to yourself, it comes. And working hard for it keeps it coming, if that makes sense.
No, brilliant. Yeah, that's a great answer, John. One point I wanted to touch on, and a bit of advice you can probably offer, is doing self takes on the bank. There's a lot of us sort of fish, quieter waters where it's not feasible to have a fish sacked up for a long period of time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you've got any tips, obviously being handy with a camera yourself, that you can pass on for doing self takes.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is going to be one of those subjects where whatever I say, someone will say I'm wrong, or it's very, very personal. There's some absolute basics that you need to make sure you're getting right, and then from then on in, it's instinctual, really. Funny enough, I was just speaking to Ting Tong about he's looking to get rid of his DSLR because he's saying my phone camera takes just as good a pic as I would ever need, and that's the thing with self takes. Make sure you're using what you are comfortable with, because if you're not shooting on what you're able to use, then you're going to blow your mind. Like, I mean, I know you're very much into your cameras as well, and my sort of ethos is whatever's in your hand is a camera. If it's got the ability to take a shot, take a shot. But for me with self takes, I mean, I'm quite old fashioned in what I use. I'm still happy using my 80D and just a standard L lens. But for me, flip screen is as essential as you could really need. A lot of people don't think about the ability to see yourself. So if you can see yourself and frame up that actual physical shot, you're laughing. So you can see where you are in relation to that lens. That already you're 90% further down the line. And whether that is your phone clipped into a Rhino mount or whatever you want to do, and the ability to see yourself in that shot, you're halfway there. But for me, it's settings can be an absolute minefield, as we said before we started this chat. Potentially, we'll do a super duper techie chat with self takes. But some key items for me: quality digital camera, intervalometer, if not one's already built in, which is as you well know, a self timer. And what that allows you to do is set an amount of shots, or set an infinite amount of shots every 2-3 seconds. For me, that allows you to press the button once, get the fish held up, move it around in that screen if you like, and get the shot. Whether you have 500 shots and one is good, I'd rather have more shots and pick the best than have one shot, put it back, and then think, oops, that was a bad shot. But yeah, without getting too technical, make your f-stop so that you're going to be good. Sort of a 5.6 area is a nice shot you're going to get. And whatever you do, and I don't understand how this still happens, is focus on the fish, because to me the fish is the prize. If my face is blurry because it's ever so out of focus, I'll swallow that. What I don't want is my face really pin sharp and a fish that's all blurry. So focus, your f-stop, and then obviously ISO and things like that, getting the light right. I mean, nowadays there's so many apps as well on your phone that you can edit the color of pictures and the light, but you need a good starting block. And really, mate, without sounding too basic, if it looks good on the screen, you're 99% of the way there. A lot of people get stuck, bogged down with trying to make it look dark, like some of the trendy people like to have dark photos and blah, blah, blah. Make sure it looks good on that screen, whatever screen it is, whether it's the camera phone or whether it's your flip screen, on your DSLR. Make it look good. Now, whatever settings you have to fiddle with to get it to look good, make sure it looks good. Make sure the focus is good, because as long as you got focus correct, 90% of everything else can be adjusted. Like the number of people that send me photos, oh mate, it's a bit blurry, can you do anything with it? The sad, unfortunate answer is 19% of the time, no. If it's blurry, it's out of focus and you're knackered. That's burnt into the image. But colors you can bring out and things like that. So don't get too bogged down. As I say, we'll potentially do a settings list one down the line, mate.
Yeah, but definitely. Okay.
Get it to look good.
Yeah, absolutely. As long as it's in focus, like you say, you can
Yeah.
work with pretty much everything else, can't you?
Yeah, that's it, mate.
Okay, what one thing has made the biggest difference to your angling, would you say?
It's going to be a controversial one. Time is by far the biggest thing that will help anyone's angling, whether it be
Yeah.
time physically fishing or
Yeah.
time thinking about fishing. As I say, I have a crazy schedule during spring and summer and into early autumn, and my fishing does suffer from that. Then when you get into autumn and winter and the early part of spring, I've got a lot more time, and it's.
Mhm.
I wish there was a wonder bait. I wish there was a wonder rig. I wish there was a wonder bit of anything. If your watercraft's good and you've got a bit of time to think about what you're doing, I certainly think that is your biggest edge in any situation, in any scenario. As an
Yeah.
owner of a bait company, I should be saying, "Oh, you want to use this pop up and that bait? That's the absolute biggest edge." But it's not. It's absolutely not. As I say, I'm very honest and truthful about my advocation of a product. Is until they stop eating fake bits of corn and bits of black foam. Don't get too bogged down with that side of thing. Fish with something you're confident with, but time, mate. Absolutely
Yeah.
time. If you can spend, and I'm not advocating being at the lake 7 days a week, quitting a job and being an absolute dull bum by any stretch, but that is an edge. Time is an edge.
Brilliant. Great answer. Right. I asked the Instagram massive.
Yeah, I had an absolute dread feeling because the boys have all been sending me, oh, I hope you asked my question.
Shall I just ask them all then?
I mean, mate, you can ask as many as you think we could legally get away with. I can guarantee that'll be the case.
There's one person that's asked a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
Anthony
8,
James.
9, 10,
What?
11, 12 questions.
Anthony James.
No,
Aunt
it's a
James.
woman.
A woman.
Home cleaning mum.
Oh, Natalie, bless her. Natalie, a very quick shout to her. She is my my bait team manager's wife, who is a great angler and works her nuts off for the brand. So as long I can imagine some of them will be horrendous questions, mate.
No, they're all pretty sensible. I won't read them all.
That's boring.
Right. Are you ready?
Yeah, go on then.
The first one from somebody called Joe Flewin.
Oh, this will be. Are you upstairs clowning around on the computer thinking that this is work? Will probably be what this will be.
Are you guys from an aviation background? I wondered with that surname.
No, it's actually Scandinavian. I was in the Air Force, which was
there you go.
Yeah, try being in the Air Force with the name John Flewin. It's every person you meet. There's a who flew in the airport. Look, who's just flew in. I mean, I would quite happily, to put this out there, I will give anyone 10 kilos of bait for an original Flewin based joke.
Oh, I hope that people are.
Everyone's now Googling.
Be careful, mate.
Yeah, no.
Let's see our baits goes tits up. Owner.
Tits up. Owner hands out 10,000 kilos for original jokes. Yeah, I can imagine it. What's she asked? Go on then.
So, how do I cope with my husband being home every day and not fishing?
Yeah, mate. As I said, it's a terrible time that we are massively in, but you've got to smile. Like I put posts up about British stiff upper lip, mate. People are dying. We get that. It's horrible, but if we all act like douchebags, it's going to make it 10 times worse. But yeah, my schedule means that I'm out a lot. And Jo, luckily for me, is super independent, and she is, without getting too soppy, because this will be probably played back at every event I go to now. She is an absolute warrior, mate. And if I say I got to go tomorrow for 4 days to do work, and the kids have got school and she's got work, she'll go, "Yep, not a problem." And I don't know how it happens, how it works. Both sets of our parents are incredible with the kids as well, but. Yeah, it just magically gets done. But yeah, this is going to be some testing times. I think, to be honest, me and you will have to have one of these every day so I get an excuse to come upstairs for an hour or two and get out of the way of her.
Yeah, I think that could be happening yet. The photography masterclass episode now. Part 1, taking your camera out of the bag.
Yeah. Mate, we'll do it. Because as someone said on social media, I mean, there'll either be a lot of babies in 9 months' time or a lot of divorces in 3 months' time.
Or a lot of alcoholics.
Or a lot. I mean, yeah, that's pretty much standard, though, isn't it?
Right. Next question from Nath Dog.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a relation to Nate Dog, the old
Yeah,
rapper.
no. That's my team manager. So this will be something.
Okay.
This will probably be something about something else. Go on.
No, so it's best baiting approach you would use on St John's.
Shameless plug. My last blog was on St John's, and my first blog on a return, should we say, to blogging. St John's. I mean, it's been done a million times before. Same as all like 90% of the linear. Bit of boilie, bit of pellet, bit of particle, bit of corn, and there's some
What was
liquids.
that magical liquid you were using?
Oh, mate, that liquid was an absolute accident. It was an idea of ours.
Did you mop it up?
Yeah. Oh, mate, it's been called all sorts of things. Like I genuinely wanted to call it the jizz, but
You should have.
yeah, I mean, it's the problem is got to be careful about what you say about things nowadays. There was an advert I wanted to run at Valentine's Day about hard hookers, which got absolutely binned off by everyone. I was like, you can't post that, John. Just it harked back to me for like the old solar ads. You know, it used to be a bit racy, the old solar ads, didn't they? But yeah, mate, that white liquid. To be honest with you, now for my St John's, boilie, bit of corn, and that liquid, and lake water. Smash it all up, get it into a pasty pulp. So you've got some holes, some chops, some goopy liquid. But yeah, mate, I think again, it's been done to death. You know, everyone will tell you their own different way to do things, but pretty much anything really works if it's in the right place in it.
Yeah, awesome. Right, next question from Ant Carpy 13.
Yeah.
He says 10 times 15 pounders or 1 times 25 pounder, and also what you use to make your beard look so lush. Cuddles.
Cuddles, mate, one of my longest standing friends, bless him. So how many doubles was it?
10 15 pounders or 125.
See, old John would have said 10 15 pounders to get loads of photos on social media and make himself look like an absolute social media whore. But yeah, 125 pounder now for me nowadays. And I'm not.
Good night's sleep. Just get out the one.
Oh, just can you imagine all that slime? Like everything's dirty, messy, and net stinks. And then people say, "Oh, it's only a pasty, mate," because you know what people are like. 125 pounder, regardless of beard, it looks like something from Catweasel's TV show. It's horrendous, my beard, but it's become sort of a. I think I shaved it off years ago for an ACA charity thing, and I looked about 12 years old. So the beard has to stay so that I can buy alcohol to go out on a night out, really.
Yeah. I tend to let my stubble grow a little bit more just to hide my chins.
Mate, no, what are you talking about? You're like Mr. Smooth normally. Like Mr. Silky
I shave
Smooth.
it off and I'm like, oh, that's why I let it grow.
Yeah, well, I toy with it every so often because after you've had about the fourth mouthful of moustache hair in a burger, you think, I'm going to shave this all off. And then you go back to the photos of when I shaved it all off and you go, I will never shave this off.
Right, next one from Nath again. Says, best hook link materials to use for solid bags?
Yeah, just normal braid. No braid. A bit like shameless plug again. Like the Avid braid that I've been using in my PVA bags, super supple, super strong. And yeah, but any uncoated braid. I know people play with other things, but an uncoated braid, £15. I'm very very basic with all of my stuff because I'm not. I don't like to overcomplicate anything in life. But yeah, just a nice, super supple braid and short as you like.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay. S. James 97 says, are you English or Welsh?
Oh, Sam, beautiful. This could be the program that breaks the news. Obviously, I'm massively seen as being Welsh. You know, all the not notebooks that call me the Welsh wizard and all this tut. And obviously my ties with the Welsh Carp team. But yeah, born in Dartford in Kent, but moved when I was 4. So I've lived in Wales for 35 years. And as far as I'm concerned, 33, before anyone corrects how old I am. But yeah, mate, my schooling was Welsh. I played sport in Welsh schools. Girlfriends were all Welsh. My wife is Welsh. My kids are now obviously half Welsh. And yeah, I get slated for, I can't believe you turned your back and all this lot. But I associate myself with everything Welsh, mate. And yeah, and that's why you'll see like on some of my social media, some of the lads of Dartford Dave and all this lot will pop up as posts, and people are like, what are they on about? Because they don't know. But yeah, born in England. But my dad has taken a very, very long time to forgive the fact that I call myself Welsh. He still gets wound up. It was only this year that, bless him, he changed his social media thing, because he don't post a lot. He's an old geezer. To the Carp Team Wales thing, and I messaged him straight. I was like, "Have you accepted I'm Welsh?" Well, I better add. I was like, you know what I mean? Because he's a proud Englishman, and it's as simple as that. Even though he's lived here as long as I have, he's a proud Englishman because obviously he grew up and his start of his life was in England. Mine was in Wales, and it's as simple as that. So, yeah. But when it comes to sport, it's always will be Wales.
Right. These next ones are all going to be quick fire because they're all from, what was her name, did you say?
Mrs. Doggers, as I call her affectionately. Yeah.
So give me as brief an answer as possible.
Yeah.
We'll read them all out. Favourite time of year to go fishing?
Spring.
Favourite fish to catch?
Big ones.
This is a question from me. Would you prefer a linear, a common, fully scaled, or a leather?
I've caught a lot of decent-sized commons, I'll be honest with you.
Stop showing off, John.
Yeah, well, I mean, when I say decent size, I mean like 10-pounders. Fully scaled meat. I don't think there is a better type of fish than if they just like absolute freak, like a proper fully scaled. People say, "Oh, this fully scaled," and it's got about 20 scales on it. Like proper fully scales, where you're thinking, is that a common or a mirror? Big fully scaled, 100%.
Yeah, lovely. Salt and vinegar or cheese and onion crisps?
Cheese and onion.
First choice rig for a water you've never fished?
I call it the Ronnie rig because I'm not cool enough to call it the spinner rig that everyone seems to hide behind. They go, "Oh yeah, the spinner rig," like they knew about it years ago. It's a Ronnie rig for me because I've only just heard about it. Ronnie rig, mate, 100%.
Who is Ronnie?
I don't know. But like it's one of those rigs where now everyone's like, "Oh, the Reggie rig," because now the swivel's on upside down or something. Shut up, you fools.
I'm going to make a note.
Yeah.
By the end of lockdown, I'm going to have the answer of who Ronnie is.
Yeah. Find out. Someone will be listening to this and go, "Yeah, it's blah blah blah" straight away, and they'll know exactly who it is. And he's not actually called Ronnie, and it'll be something. I'm sure I've heard someone. It might have been Dovey on one of his podcasts talking about the spinner rig, and it was his name's not actually Ronnie and all this lot. But mate, I call it the Ronnie rig. Simple as that.
Maybe the guy's name's Ronnie Spinner.
That would be incredible.
Imagine that.
In fact, what we should do is we should start a thing that's that. Don't listen to anyone else you've heard. It's the guy called Ronnie Spinner. He used to fish Yankee back in the day or something like that. It's a classic magazine makeup story in it.
Yeah. That's got some
traction to it. That
longevity in it. Right, another quick fire one. If you could fish anywhere, where would it be? From my sofa. From a hot tub sounds ideal, which can be done nowadays. I got to say at the moment, mate, Farriers for me, it's just magical for me, absolutely magical. Yeah, lovely. John?
Yeah?
Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Black or white?
This annoys people. White in the morning, black through the day.
Okay. Dairy Milk or Galaxy?
Neither really. They're a bit bland, aren't they? Then that's like ready salty crisp of the chocolate world. Galaxy sounds like serious. What now?
Hold on a minute. Have you tried the Dairy Milk with the popping candy and the
that's fine.
In?
Creations or whatever it's called. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a fat lad that knows the name of a chocolate bar by description. That's acceptable. But like plain, like my best mate in the whole entire world from years gone by, Rob. He's the only person I know that drinks Stella only. That's it. If there's no Stella in the pub, we have to go somewhere else. Ready salted crisps. Never seen him eat another crisp in my whole entire life. And plain dairy milk. And I've never seen him eat another chocolate bar in his life. Like that's like the most plain, bland lifestyle you could lead. That, isn't it?
Yeah.
Horrendous.
He knows what he likes. It's fine.
Yeah, I know, but it's also a
pain. All God's children.
Oh, John, I know, mate. Different. When we were growing up, very quickly. When we were growing up. he's the person who used to go to McDonald's birthday parties, 20 kids ordering McDonald's. And you say, can I have a cheeseburger, but with no cheese, no tomato sauce, no gherkins? What, you just want a patty and a bun? Yes, please. That's how he's been like since I've known him for years now.
Lovely, lovely. This one is probably a bit of an obvious answer. Who's your favourite bake company?
Ugh. I can't say my own. That'd be horrendous. All bake companies are equal in my opinion. There we are.
Yeah, I'm not going to read the other ones because they're all bake related.
Yeah, don't read bake related because that's horrendous.
What a load of carp says, do you still love me?
Oh, I know that is. Of course, Mr. Pin. I love you emphatically. I love everyone. There's not
You're
many
a loving guy. I've realised that.
Yeah, I mean, I probably got people who think I'm an absolute tosspot, which is fine by me, but I don't think there's a lot of people. I probably bumped into 2 or 3 people down this up and down road of life that I've really wanted to punch in the throat. Apart from that, mate, I really get on with everyone, and I don't like people not getting on with each other. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, life's short.
Oh, God, isn't it just? Well, even though some will go, no, it's not. It's the longest thing you can do. I know what you mean, mate. It is.
Twice the length from the middle.
Yeah, mate, at the end of the day, especially in this game, you cock someone up on the way up, they could be the person that could save you on the way down. So just be nice to everyone in it. It's easy.
Very philosophical.
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah, John Flewin. I might get that printed on a T-shirt. John Flewin says, "Don't cock people up on the way."
Don't just eat plain crisps.
Yeah. Oh God, bless him.
One more question from Liam Smith. Is Liam Smith the best ever guy you fish with?
Liam Smith is one of the nicest guys I've ever fished with, and you know, I've got a load of people I class as friends in this industry, and then I've got people that are like mates outside of it as well. Liam very much fits, you know, he's Uncle Liam to the kids. You know, I've got Uncle Liam, Uncle Ethan, Uncle Cugs. They're all people that come to my house. As you can imagine, my house is a hub of fishing back and forth. Yeah. And so, yes, Liam, I will say this: you are one of my top 10 nicest people I've ever fished with, mate. Thank you.
And just in, as I've been refreshing the feed, excuse me, let me clear my throat to quote a song. Future Carpin said, what are the benefits? They spelt that wrong, but that's okay. Of using a bait boat.
This is, yet again, this is good. This will have to be called the Shameless Plug Blog with me.
No, it's fine.
It's not, no. I have been very lucky to be recently invited to join the Future Carpin team, which are a group of lads, a company, shall we say. A group of lads sounds terrible. It's a company, a proper, strict company that are bringing bait boats into the UK, mate. So, yeah, they've got... They
must have a long battery life to survive the channel crossing.
Yes. Well, the way things are going, mate, yeah, we'll all be hopefully getting on them to get over to our French trips next year. But no, it's a great fleet of boats that are going to be coming more and more into the UK. Benefits of a bait boat. It's not an everyday thing, a bait boat. For me, certainly, a lot of waters you can't use them, etc. But the benefits is, like, especially I use them in Europe loads. The benefit is you don't create any noise. You can get your bait exactly where you want, your rig exactly where you want. You don't have to dick around. Like, why? Like, I get that people, you know, don't like them. That is completely their prerogative. I understand that. I was actually probably one of them 5, 6, 7 years ago. But I've seen the benefits of putting a rig in quietly with a nice pile of bait around it and just coming home and putting it away, putting it in your bag and feeling 100% confident, you know. There are a lot of you know, and when you're fishing massive ass lakes, 300 yards, why row out or motorboat out when you can chuck it in a bait boat and sod it off and let it drop, and then it brings it back up like the boat that I got from Future Carpin. Once you found your spot, you plot it in, you put your boat in, your bait in, pardon me, you press one button, it goes off to spot, opens up the hoppers, turns around and comes back to you. Like, why would you not want that? Especially abroad.
No crack-offs either.
Oh,
so
mate.
No trailers.
No going up a tree, because anyone that's listening to this knows me. I spend more time up trees than I do in the lake on occasions. It is safe. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are some absolute donuts that use them that drive around corners.
Well, it's like anything, isn't it? You just have to be responsible.
It's the users that are the divs. The boats don't do anything wrong. It's like a lot of technology in it, mate. It's not actually it's not the tech. It's the donut sat behind the tech.
Yeah. Right. Good answer. And yeah, I agree. Like anything in life. Right. We'll wrap this up, but I have one request. What I'd like you to do, John, not now, afterwards, because we're in lockdown and everyone's, going to be crawling the walls in a few days. I want you to. Are you any good at drawing? Art?
My daughter is. Can I get her to draw it for me? No. I am a great copier of stuff. Go on.
I want you to draw me a carp, but you only have 60 seconds to do it. I want you to video it, and so I can see the timer as well, and then stop at the 60 seconds. What I then do in this lockdown spell, I'm asking everyone to do it. We'll post them all, and we'll get people to vote, and we do a winner, and we'll come up with a little prize. Thoughts?
It sounds ideal. 60 seconds is intense.
Yeah, so it's going to be a very quick sketch. Nothing more, nothing less.
Yeah, exactly 60 seconds. 59:59 my sketch will take.
Yeah, I heard you like to finish early.
Yeah, easy.
On that bombshell, John Flewin, it's time for you to fly out.
Hey, it's 10 kilos in the post. Cheers,
Awesome, John. Thank you very much.